great, man. How you been?
I've been great. Obviously you've had a bit of time here to digest the win. I know you would have liked that finish, but just your overall thoughts on your performance. It was a pretty impressive victory.
Yeah, I definitely don't think there was any split decision. I think I definitely got the best of him, but it's frustrating not getting finishes. I don't like that. I definitely like that feeling of getting a finish, and I wanted to finish him just because of how tough he is and who he's fought and stuff. It would have been a big win to get a finish over him.
Absolutely. But you did end up getting the victory. Actually, speaking of the decision, there's a website called MMAdecisions.com where the media can submit their scorecards for every fight. I don't know if you've seen it, but 15 media members scored the fight for you and nobody scored it for Hernandez. Did you know that?
No, I had no clue. It doesn't surprise me, honestly, because I was like, I felt like I definitely won the first by a good amount, and then the second 100%, and then going into the third, yeah, he dropped me, but I ended up taking his back, flattening him out, it's just I don't know. It was weird when they said that. I thought they were giving me like a unanimous, but that they scored it like 30-27, 29-28, 29-28, or something like that. But then I couldn't believe it, man. I was like, ugh, made me sick.
Did the fight kind of play out how you thought it would in terms of the result? I know you wanted to get a finish, but sort of looking back,
Yeah, I definitely, like, if you ask my coach, and like what I do to myself every day, I send myself a text message, and it's kind of like it's either going to be my to-do list or it's my fight game plan. And so like right now I'm back on to-do list, so I have like a whole 5 or 6 things I got to do like on a daily or weekly basis, and I send them to myself. And if you go back and look at my on my fight, like my game plan, the whole camp, every day I was texting myself over and over, and I was landing that overhand right and that outside leg kick, and then I wanted to get him on the cage a little more, but he was doing a good job of like keeping his distance, and like when I landed, I felt like it was landing good, so I didn't really feel like rushed to take him down. I wish I would have taken him down more because I think I would have gassed him out. But he's a gamer. He's been there for a long time. He fought some really tough guys, so he was fighting smart. Just keeping his distance well, and it was a tough fight for sure.
What have you been up to since the fight? I'm sure you've got some time off. I know you're probably back a little bit in the gym, but what does post-fight look like from now until from back after your fight ended?
I literally just finished sparring, but I'm back at it. I want to fight in June. I want to fight like there's so many featherweight matchups right now, and I'm hoping hoping in the best way, like not in a bad way, but I hope someone has to pull out their fight, and I get to step in short notice, man. I'm like staying ready, keep my weight low, keep my conditioning up, and just staying ready. And right now I had my fight, so I had guys covering classes, and the guys that I had covering classes, they all have fights. They had a fight the week that I got back that weekend. So I got back on Tuesday or Monday, whatever, and then I went on Friday night and Saturday night. I had guys fighting, and so my guys that were helping me, I had to cover their classes for their fights. So I worked probably more this week than I have like when I first opened the gym. So I was like, I worked nonstop every day, 4:30 to 9 every day, and
Good for you.
and then like yeah, I that's how it used to be like every day, but now it's like I get to do that like 3 or 4 days a week instead of every day. But just been working like crazy and trying to keep my conditioning up. But my foot was a little swollen from that fight, just kicking and whatever, so I had to get that worked on this week. But I feel great, man. I'm ready to go.
Any opponents in mind, or you mentioned they're short notice, so I don't think it really matters. You just want to get in there in June, like you're mentioning.
Yeah,
But
honestly,
anyone?
I don't really care. I think me and Julian Erosa would put on a hell of a fight, and I think that fight makes a lot of sense. Um, but I like Julian. I think he's a good dude. I think that there's a lot of tough matchups for sure. Sadiq's coming off 2 losses. I don't know if they're gonna let him, step in on someone coming off a win or not. But that fight makes sense to me, Sadiq, and yeah, I'd love to have that fight. And then Julian's always, he's a tough dude for sure. It'd be a great fight for the fans. And then Bryce Mitchell's been sitting on shut for a while. I would like to have that fight. So I'm like I said, like whoever they put in front of me, man, I'm ready to go. Just staying ready just in case.
Yeah, no, that's always smart to see what happens there. We just had UFC 300 on the weekend. Obviously, someone that was at the top of your division for a while, Max Holloway, moving up and knocking out Justin Gaethje. What was your reaction to that? I don't think I've ever seen two guys go toe to toe, especially when a guy's up 5-1 or 4-0.
That if that fight would have been a little bit closer, that would probably have beaten the Stephen Bonner Forrest Griffin. But since it was kind of one-sided, I think it was just such an amazing performance on Max's part. And I was like watching the fight, and I was very into it. I was like, oh my god, they're slugging it out. Like, what's Max doing? Like, just sitting there, they're like going at the end. I'm like, dude, he's already up 4 rounds. Like, that's crazy. And then when he dropped him, I was like, no way. Like 2 seconds left, and then it was like one. I was like, oh my god, like, I couldn't believe it, man. I had a video on my story. I freaked out. Like, I mean, I could not believe. I like couldn't believe it.
Yeah. It was pretty incredible. And then what about the main event? We had obviously Pereira knocking out Jamal Hill. What was your reaction to that?
That dude, he's different. Like he's different for sure. I think Jamal Hill was caught off guard a little bit when they asked him to fight that 300 card, because that honestly, like, if it would have been like Izzy and Pereira, then I would have been like, oh, that's good. They both knew about that for a long time. They're both prepared, whatever. But whenever they said it was Jamal Hill, I feel like he like found out about it right when they announced it. I feel like he wasn't quite in training mode, and he wasn't like, I mean, he was talking a lot of smack. He looked a little timid, and then Alex is Alex, man. He's a beast. That dude's a beast.
I saw your post on Instagram that you've done something obviously with your hair. What's your secret, man? Because I'm losing mine a bit. Maybe I could use whatever you're doing.
Hey, send me a DM and I'll hook you up with my doctor. Dude, that was the best experience ever. Like, have you ever been to Turkey?
I've not been to Turkey, no.
Oh man,
I've eaten turkey though.
Yeah, well, you need to go there, man. It's beautiful, awesome. Istanbul is amazing, and I went both sides. Like, it was just so cool to go to Istanbul and like to see everything. And the culture was freaking insane. The food was unbelievable. I had a private guide that took me everywhere. It was like the best spots, the best tea, the best views, like everything. And I could hook you up with him too. He's such a cool place. But it was crazy because they had like, you get in there, you have 2 doctors working with you, you have 4 nurses. They take the hair out of the back of your head, they put it on top of your head, they bandage it up, and you're out of there in like 4 hours.
Wow.
And it's like, and you like, the whole time I had it happen, you think that it's not going to work, because it's like, I don't know if anybody's ever had hair loss, but you try a million things and none of it ever works. And so it's so crazy to see that it like just grows in like normal, or like it's like just normal hair. But it's just funny because like literally that's all I ever got. Was I got DMs and I got comments only about my hair.
Right.
Like it was like,
so you had to address the elephant in the room. It's like a comedian when someone's heckling you, you got to address it, right?
No, you could, like, there's no way I could ever hide that.
Yeah.
Like, I could never say I didn't do something. And like they brought me over there. Like, I was over there. It was amazing. The hotel was awesome. The food was great. Just the culture there was just awesome. It was such a cool experience, and like I definitely want to go back there. Obviously not for that, but just to go back over and see it. And I highly recommend anyone going through that to go to Turkey, because the procedure was like a fourth of the cost here or there than it is here.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like, and it's so much better because they do it by hand. They don't use machines at all. Everything's done by hand. It's crazy.
Good stuff. Damon, thanks for doing this. Big win, obviously. Like we mentioned there at the top, we'll be keeping an eye out for the next one when it gets scheduled. In the meantime, if you got anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Now Time Hair, man. Like, those guys hooked it up, man. I couldn't believe. Just shout out to them, man. It's awesome. But hell yeah, everybody at Lakeside, man. We've been doing some big stuff. We got fights coming up next weekend, the weekend after that, and then in 2 weeks we got more fights. So it'll be good summer for my program too.